This is a video about how you can tell if your bow is straight when you're not looking into a mirror. I always have my students practice into a mirror at the beginning so they can see when the bow is straight, because it's very deceptive here with violin or viola. Looking at the bridge, because of the way the bridge curves away, it looks like, if I just go kind of by my gut, it looks like that would be straight, and yet obviously you can see in the camera that it's not. It's sort of like an optical illusion there based on the curvature of the bridge. And so it gets kind of frustrating for students when they are trying to play with a straight bow and look in the mirror and it looks straight and it looks crooked here, and then they play for a while, it looks straight, and then it looks crooked in the mirror. Obviously the mirror is telling you the truth, but it takes a long time to get used to what it actually looks like straight. So there are a few things that that help in terms of that learning process. One of them is watching your downs and ups and seeing if the bow, the contact point, that's where it's touching the string, is drifting. For instance, if your bow is going in towards the bridge every time you do a down bow and then away when you do an up bow, that means the bow is crooked this way. The tip is hiding behind your head back here. And then obviously the opposite is true as well. If the bow is traveling away from the bridge as you do your down bow and then back towards the bridge on an up bow, it means the tip is pointing out there towards the scroll. So you can use that as sort of a rough guide. If you watch downs and ups and you see that traveling back and forth, then that's a really good clue. Towards the bridge means you have to push that tip out a little bit. Away from the bridge means you have to push your arm further out in front of your body to correct that angle. Now the next thing is, when you see that happening, if you sort of try to fight against it without changing the angle of the bow, you'll feel it sort of doing this little zigzag. See how the bow kind of slips and then grabs and then slips and then grabs? Again, if you notice that, if you feel that, that's a really strong clue that the bow is crooked one way or the other. And you should be able to tell, again, by which direction it's doing that little slip in. So feel for that little zigzag if you're trying to keep the bow in one spot. Now, you'll know that the bow is perfectly straight when it feels like there's no need for it to pull one direction or the other. It just feels like, I sort of think of it like a train on tracks. A train conductor doesn't need to turn a steering wheel, right? The tracks force the wheels to go where they go. And you almost feel like that when the bow is very straight. I wasn't feeling the need to sort of pull one direction or push the other direction to keep the bow in that spot. So you'll learn, it takes some sensitivity in your hand. After a while, you'll learn to just feel when it's doing that, when it feels like it's on that straight track, versus when you're having to kind of fight against it, or you notice that bow changing positions. I think of it like, it should feel like a train conductor that doesn't have to steer versus someone steering a boat where you constantly have to fight against the wind and the waves to keep going the direction that you want. So over time you'll develop sort of this feel, the sensitivity for when that hair seems to be pulling right in that one line. It wants to do that almost like the wheels on a car. It'll go the direction it's pointing, and you'll just learn to feel when that happens. Can't explain it much better than that, at least right now, and it's something that just you have to experience for a while to understand.